Imposter Syndrome and Mental Health, Mati Katongera. Mati is a believer, wife, and mum. She is an indirect tax professional with a focus on VAT and insurance premium tax in financial services and has a Big Four global insurer background. Mati is passionate about mental health, well-being, and self-care, and proudly Zimbabwean.
Thank you, Mati. Over to you.
First step is to unmute. Thank you, Tendai, for a very, very flattering introduction. And yeah, there are a bit of some technical issues, but we're all good. So I'm very honored actually. Sally was like tough act to follow, to be fair, but seamless. Like, I think it ties quite nicely into what I want to discuss today. So the first thing I want to say to everyone is that I don't have a deck. I'm going to just speak. I have notes and I will circulate them afterwards. But I've looked at decks all day today and I think I'm good. So I wanted to talk about imposter syndrome and mental health. And so I know Tendai has given me a very flattering introduction. It's a little bit flattering, but I don't think you really need to care about what I do. I think what you need to care about is my ethos. So I'm obsessed, passionate about how we deal with ourselves. Of course, I've got a bit of a slant. I grew up in Zimbabwe and I've come and settled somewhere else. I'm raising children somewhere else, and the world has changed from the world that I knew. So it's not a diaspora-focused conversation, but it's just a global citizen-focused conversation where we have to navigate, things that perhaps we didn't come across in our childhood. So imposter syndrome is one of those words that if you're on social media, if you listen to the news or whatever, it's just like thrown around. It's a bit of a woke statement. So I just wanted to start at the beginning, which is, what does it actually mean? And so, typical Zimbabwean, start with the definition. Imposter syndrome is really a sense or feeling that you have that you are not as capable as other people think that you are. I said that a little bit slowly because I want you to pick up on the nuance of what I'm saying. It's not that you're not capable. It's that you think you're not capable and that other people think that you're more capable than you think you are. So I don't know. I mean, I would love for this to be an interactive situation. So if anything I'm saying is resonating with you, throw me a hand in the chat box. Put your hands up, throw me a comment in the chat box. But basically, it's just the sense that you're doing something and it's not a bad thing, right? You're not stealing, dealing drugs or anything like that, but you just don't feel comfortable. And to tie this to the ministry that Tendai, oh, yay, we've got a chat person, thank you. To tie that to where we're going with this conference is, I genuinely believe with all my heart that lack of internal confidence actually affects your ability to become financially stable, right? Stable or financially successful. Well, stable is just the low level that we're aiming for, but financially successful is where we want to get to. And I just feel like it's there's a number of reasons why this might be something that you need to consider. So I'll circulate my notes later, but I just want to talk today just from my heart. So the first point that I have is even how I was introduced. I'm a person, and then I've got my paid employment, and then I've got my actual employment. So my paid employment, I'm a tax accountant. I worked in the Big Four, blah, 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 blah. I'm an accountant, blah, 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 blah. But my actual employment is I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm a sister, I'm an aunt, I'm a cousin, I'm a godmother, and I'm just a person. So I feel like that immediately indicates why we have this dichotomy between what we think we can do and what we actually do. So today I wanted to talk about our mental narrative, our thought processes, how this affects our decision making, and therefore how this influences our financial outcomes. As I said, please feel free to use the chat box. Please throw questions. And any conversation that you wish to continue, very happy for you to contact Tendai, very happy for you to contact me directly. But yeah, very, very open to continue this conversation. So back to the definition. Imposter syndrome refers to an internal experience of believing that you're not as competent as others believe you to be. So this might be intelligence, achievement, whatever, but it's basically is like a swamp of self-confidence, self-esteem, perfectionism, social context, and I'll come back to that in some detail. It's basically the experience of feeling like a phony, like you just don't feel like you fit, you just don't feel like you can do it, you just don't feel like you belong. And this is nothing to do with D&I and all that, those other branches of fitting in and acceptance. I'm literally talking about your self-narrative in your head. Like when you turn up, whether it's your job, whether it's as a mom, whether it's at your child's school, whether it's your church, I don't know, but when you walk, do you walk with your full chest, or do you feel like you're covering up, or you're faking, or you're acting, or I don't know. So I want us to focus on how that impacts your financial situation, because this is the point of this conference. But that self-narrative, I cannot express enough how that voice in your head influences the choices that you make, the decisions that you make, the things that you look at, the things that you consider as options. As Sally was talking about, you could be self-employed. Hello, okay. If you have a very negative self-narrative, you wouldn't even consider that. You'd be like, I just need to stay in my job. I just need to hope that they do an inflation adjustment and the money covers my bills. You won't even expand your headspace to consider what other stuff, gifts, talents, opportunities, anything like that. If you really honestly just feel like, I'm so grateful to be here, I'm so grateful they've employed me, I'm so grateful that I get a salary at the end of the month, then you don't allow yourself headspace to consider what other opportunities are available for you. And then this is why it's not good to not have a deck. The other point is why do we have this imposter syndrome? So everyone can Google, you guys can all go and read about it, and I'll put some book resources in the chat box when I finish. So there's a number of reasons: self-esteem, self-confidence, as I mentioned, past trauma. So if you've tried to do something before and it's failed, that can be quite traumatic for you, for your confidence. Can be cultural, and then that's generational. Depends where you are, where you're living, what support networks you have, what's the narrative that you were told. If you were just told that all you need to do is just go and just get a visa and just go, that's very limiting, actually. That's very limiting. Or maybe you have other extremely ambitious parents who put you, on a seriously, pretty much a treadmill, attainment, achievement, performance was the focus in your childhood or in your adolescence or whatever, early adulthood. All these things can feed into the voice, the self narrative that you have. And then that's before we even talk about the people that you bump into on your journey of life. So that could be a bad boss, toxic boyfriend, failed marriage, no marriage, having to take on responsibilities that you didn't expect that you need to take on, looking after siblings, looking after elderly relatives, or things that you just didn't really plan for. All these things are hits. These are hits on your internal person. These are hits. These are slugs to the chest. Like, you have to be so mindful of micro and macro traumas that affect how you think about yourself and how you think about the world. Then cultural, and I'm really happy this is a mixed group, so I won't monopolize it, but I mean, clearly different cultures have different dynamics, right? So different responsibilities, different expectations, different norms, unsaid, never documented, just expected, all these things. And now you're on this side A, trying to carve out your life, but you have this sack on your back of cultural expectation, norms, expectations, traditions. So-and-so did it before. So, it's assumed that you'll do it. All these things feed into that internal narrative. And so I've done so much reading and I've got so many links to share with everyone. But the crux of it is, imagine walking into a meeting room with about, I don't know, 60 kg of issues on your back. Like, you're not turning up as your real self. You honestly, you're not. You're just hoping to scrape past. And I think imposter syndrome is like and it's really, if you're interested in English, it says syndrome, not disease. So it's not a sickness. It's something in your head. It's not verified. It doesn't mean that the other people who are on the other side of the boardroom table are thinking the same thing as you. It's literally a syndrome. It's you. So that's why I think it's so important to discuss why you find yourself in this position and what you can do to support yourself to sort of turn up as your very best self. It can affect anyone. Social status, work background, skill level, degree, it doesn't matter. I know I can actually reference some people. They'll be actually upset if I use their names in this chat, but multiple degrees, PhDs, accounting qualifications, medical qualifications, teachers, very valuable professions, or even people who just like specialize in homemaking, or, like really valuable skills. But if you don't deal with that internal narrative, I think it can be quite problematic. Characteristics, very quickly, because I'm going to run out of time. So, inability to realistically assess your competence and skills. Attributing your success to external factors. So you become passive. It's like, this happened because of something, the clouds aligned and blah, 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 rather than actually owning your contribution and your expertise and your skill and your knowledge and your effort. Berating your performance. I don't know if anyone in the chat, I would love to see some hands at this point. If you ever come from an interview or an appraisal and you come home and all you do is tell your family or your partner, like, I messed this up, I did this wrong, I said the wrong thing, just to focus on the negative. Fear that you won't live up to expectations, whether that's local, so your immediate family, or whether that's external. I don't know how it is for other people, but if I drop a text in my family WhatsApp group and I say I'm trying to go for a promotion, something, whoa, like, I better come correct. Like, the only thing they want to read when I come back is nailed. So sometimes I put myself forward for something and I don't get it. Like, it happens, not the right fit, I don't have the right qualifications, blah, blah, blah. But that, actually drafting that text to say, like, yeah, that didn't really work out for me is I mean, it can take like 48 hours for you to get the guts to like actually go back and say, you know what, thank you for your prayers, but it didn't really work out for me. So expectations are a big boulder on your shoulders. And there's another thing, sabotaging your own success. So these are the people who, before you even go, you haven't even like entered the building, you've already mentally concluded like, this is not going to work for me, I probably won't get this, I think I'm not qualified enough, they probably won't take me, like self-sabotage, like you literally haven't even got into the building yet, and you're just telling yourself, I can't do it, I won't do it, they won't want me, I don't, just be like, you literally haven't even passed reception. So that's something to be, very aware of. A couple more. I can see some people laughing in the chat. This is actually real. This is, self-doubt. And the other thing, or the last one, this is quite important. This is quite important for the high achievers. For the high achievers, the big dogs, setting excessively high goals. Yeah? So Tendai, just stop making me laugh. You were top of class in physics. Yeah? Okay, cool. That's good. Good for you. You got a scholarship to do a degree in chemistry. Okay, yeah. You got the highest result in the ACA qualification, or you completed your teacher training 4 months before everyone else, or you're running dual businesses, like you've got a business in South Africa, you've got a business in London, or you've got a house in London, but you've got 3 properties in South Africa or Zimbabwe or wherever. High achievers are very susceptible to imposter syndrome, because you put yourself up there so high. And the thing is, like, it's completely natural. You're winning, right? Like, you're doing the most, you're doing big things. So you put yourself out there, but then sustaining consistent performance is like a different skill set from getting yourself up there. So now you've got this reputation, or this social media profile, or you've just got this reputation, expectations, or your friends, your family, your colleagues, whatever, and maintenance. It's easy to rush to the top, but maintenance is like a skill set, a considered, thoughtful, planned skill set. So imposter syndrome will tackle you like a rugby tackle you, because you've told everyone, or even if you're modest and you haven't told everyone, everyone has seen your social media, everyone has seen your new car, everyone has seen your multiple properties, everyone has, and now it's difficult to claw it back, to actually say that actually I actually have to still keep grinding. Like, my nose is to the grindstone. You're driving with over XC90, Tendai knows what I'm talking about right now. XC90, you're cruising. Okay, but that was 2 years ago. Okay, so like, where are we now? And are we making decisions that are consistent with where we're trying to go, where we're trying to get to, and what we can manage, what we can authentically manage? Yes, because you can continue the fantasy. That's always an option. You can deal with the anxiety and the stress and the underlying depression and worry that brings by not being your true self. You can deal with the fear of being found out, if you're like one of those, am I allowed to say, Shana? Mbinga. If you're one of those, like, out there. People, you can deal with the anxiety of having to maintain that profile. If you're not very active on social media and it's just your own internal pressure, it's still pressure. It's literally, it's still anxiety, it's still pressure, it's still concern, it still worries you, it still keeps you up at night. So I think taking control of your self-narrative, honestly, it's the way to peace. Honestly, it's the way to peace for you, for your family, for everyone who's around you. And so I'm going to try to jump to mental health, unless anyone has any specific questions right now. No. Okay. So,
Nati, just someone wrote about what about Kujinini Pisa, which is like you've just got to humble yourself. Does that fall into that category?
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Who's that? Can you, if you put your hand up, I'll yes.
Iggy.
So I think that falls into socialization and culture. So it depends how you were raised, where you came from, how you came into your current situation. So I'll just give an example. For some of us, we came with a green passport, we needed a visa, we were just grateful to be in the game. And yes, I completely understand. You end up compromising, like, not intentionally, by the way, but you just think, I'm just so glad that I'm just on the table. Like, I don't even care even if they're throwing me crumbs as opposed to the actual loaves of bread, but I'm just so glad to be here that I'll just put up with, I don't know, some of the things that I've experienced in my life. I actually look back and I'm like, but honestly, was it necessary? Like, honestly, like, but at the time, and and I think that's why self-care is really important, to give yourself grace, to understand that I made the best decisions at the time that I was in. But it's very true to that person, is that it's so easy to not have enough confidence to actually assert yourself and to know your own worth and to say, you know what, you are the people who don't have enough staff, right? That's why you're recruiting me. So please don't treat me like I'm a beggar. I'm not a beggar, actually. And in fact, I'm probably qualified than, I don't know, 25% of some of the people in the rest of your team. So, come to me correct. But it takes a lot of confidence. It takes a very strong personal narrative. It takes a very strong support network, like people telling you, around you, saying, like, it's like Tendai telling me that I'm not sure if I can be a financial advisor. I'm like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I know you, I've known you, you need like a support network. You need people speaking positive things into your life. You need to seek out people who see you positively. You need to seek out people who are doing the things that you want to do. And you need to sort of not stalk, because that's not a good thing, but you need to like understand their mindset and how they're going about things. And some of the stuff, there's a saying, take what you like, sift the rest, right? Take what you like, sift the rest. Like, look at people. Like, if you see someone who's doing something that you want to do, like, look at them. Like, why? How come that person is doing that? Or if you're in a meeting and someone is getting much more traction than you are, listen. Like, forget about your feelings, your ego, your what. Listen. What are they saying? What is different from what they're saying than what you're saying? How they're presenting themselves? What are they doing after? Are they following up with an email? Are they networking? And blah, blah. And I'm not, please understand, I'm not advocating that you do things that are not in line with your own values and stuff. I'm just saying observation and self-improvement is really the antidote to imposter syndrome. So observe, learn, action. Literally, look at other, like, see, identify your gaps, look where other people are filling the gaps, implement, and yeah, you're on your way. Anyway, before we run out of time, I really want to talk about mental health. Just because I think it kind of ties into this, and I tried so hard to make this seamless, but I don't think it's going to be seamless. So bear with me. So mental health. I just feel minorities, ethnic minorities, I don't want to point fingers, but Black Africans, immigrants, very privileged people, we don't have enough respect for mental health. Like, we just don't have enough respect for the fact that your mental health is as important as your physical health. So if I came to you to this call and I said, I'm actually having an insulin incident, I'm diabetic right now, all you guys would be like, fine, it's okay, take your time, blah, 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 blah. If we could have the same respect for mental health issues, the world would be such a better place. And there's a couple of statistics, I'll throw them into the chat and into the follow-up document, because I'm not going to put stuff on the screen. But honestly speaking, mental health issues are on the rise. There's nothing that we can, I'll fight you if anyone wants to challenge me on that point, because if we throw in the fact of COVID, if we throw, there's been just an onslaught of things that have challenged everyone's mental health. And I think because we don't like to talk about it, it's a little bit uncomfortable, it's a little bit private, it's a little bit shows weakness. I don't know, these are all the perceptions that people have. I just wanted to flag a couple of things. If you're going to have a strong self-narrative, if you're going to go out there with your full chest and do the things that you feel that you're called to do, that you're ordained to do, that you're qualified to do, you better have a strong mental situation. It's just the same as being physically strong. Your mental, your mindset is just as important, if not more, depending on how you interpret things, as your physical. So mental health, why do people shy away from discussing it and da-da-da-da-da? Well, yeah, it's a little bit, there's a bit of a stigma around it. I think that anyone would be lying if they didn't take that into account. It depends on your family upbringing. It depends on your cultural attitudes. So, as an example, I had experience of a very close family member who had a mental health crisis. Like, literally, I cannot even explain. Everyone was like, it's a curse. So there was no discussion about medical intervention or therapy or anything. It was literally like, this is to do with something over there in the spiritual realm that no one can really pinpoint. And the irony of it all is that it turned out in the end, it was actually a chemical imbalance, like medically, like it was a medical issue that can be treated with what? Guess what? Medicine. So I just think that paying not enough attention to mental health can, I think, make imposter syndrome almost like a double-layered thing. So it's like, you're not taking care of yourself, you're not doing self-care, you're not paying attention to your feelings, you're not paying attention to your thoughts, and then you're out there in the big bad world trying to do something, be something, earn something, build something, but you're not, your structure is not strong. Your core structure is not strong. So I don't know, Tendai, I don't know if it's like it's hard to relate it to like all the wealth building and stuff, but honestly, I just don't see how it's possible for you to do these amazing things on the wealth side if you need to be solid, you need to be strong, you need to be confident, you need to be walking in your esteem, you need to be proud, you need to be happy within yourself. Otherwise, all this, I just, I think that can be a weak link. I'm not saying that you won't achieve it, but I just think it can be such a weak link. The last thing I will say is just solutions, because you should not really do a presentation if you don't actually come with some solutions. So my suggested, not solutions, because I'm not a problem, like I don't know everything about everything, but read. We're so lucky. We can just buy books on Amazon that we're there by tomorrow. You can do ebooks, Kindle, audiobooks, whatever. You can go to the library. It's like, I don't know, library membership is like £6. It's like, so we have so much access to information. If you don't want to read a book, read on your phone. That's fine. And the other thing I would say is journal, which is something that people dismiss, even me. I didn't really take it that seriously. During lockdown, I turned 40 and I got like 5 journals as birthday presents. I was like, oh, I think someone is saying something. But what I've enjoyed about my journals is that from the stuff that I wrote in 2020, there's something really powerful. It's now 2022. And I'm looking through my journals, the nonsense that I wrote in 2020. I'm like, so I haven't really moved from what I was writing in 2022 with my whole heart. I'm still there. And it's actually quite motivating when you see it like that. Like when you see that I wrote this entry on the 15th of July, 2020, and I literally have not achieved a single thing that I've written. Like I haven't managed to do anything. That's quite humbling, but it's quite motivating. The other thing is that I've got lots of resources. This is a really good journal. It's really nice. It's just, you just have to only write a small bit, I promise you. I've got some other books that I'll show you. This is for children, Happy Confident Me. And there's a mix. So for those who are not yet quite right at the writing stage, they can just circle their emotions of happy face, sad face, mixed face, angry face. All they have to do is just circle the face. It's quite nice. Like if your child is not yet at the writing stage, I think it's a really good one. There's another book here for the moms. Read. Feed your soul. Feed your spirit. Mom Enough. This is like it's an anthology. So it's just poems. They're short because we know we don't have time. I can't spend all day reading books. But honestly, a poem that's just very short, I'm pretty sure you can manage this on an evening. And it's all affirmative, affirmation, inspiration, all these things. Feed your soul. This is maybe for those who have specific issues. And I'm going to throw these all into the presentation. This is for those who have maybe specific issues. So, this is called proactive parenting, and this amazing. And you just go by chapter. You just go and find your problem and go straight to your chapter. You don't have to read other people's problems. You just go and find your corner. And there's lots of resources. They do counseling, parent and adult. They do counseling. And I'm not plugging anything, by the way. I'm not affiliated to any of these people. And another for imposters, for those who are suffering with imposter syndrome, this is my gift to you, the gift of imperfection. So this is self-acceptance. This is accepting yourself as you are, flawed, indecisive, nervous, a worrier, overly reactive, talk too much, talk too little, whatever your issue is. That is a brilliant book. So yeah, I'm probably not as structured as you expected, but I think that this is, honestly, if you can nail this part of your psychology, honestly, I believe if you can nail this part of your psychology, making money will be, not that difficult.
Whew, that was I feel like I've just gone through a therapy session right there. Whoa, 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 whoa. Thank you so much, Matty. Guys, have you got any questions? Matty, there's a question here from Nancy saying, could negative and critical people contribute to imposter syndrome? Whoa.
Nancy, I think that's probably one of, can you hear me? Just put a hand up if you can. Yeah. Okay. So I think that is probably, especially if it's in your formative years when you haven't yet built your, like you're not as robust, you're still looking for guidance and affirmation. Absolutely. And Nancy, I just want to say something about that is like, there's negative people that you cannot remove from your life because of their position in your life, right? There's just some people, authority figures, or whether that's your elders or your employers or whatever. But there does come a time when you get locked into your self-worth, you can make choices, right? Like you can say like, what, this person really makes me feel bad. When we go for brunch with this person, when I come home I don't feel so good. Or when I call this person and tell them that I got a promotion, they pretty much just rubbish it. And I get off the phone, I start the call pretty happy, and when I get off the phone I feel really deflated and stuff. And then you can start to make choices, considered choices, and say, what, it's not this person that I'm going to call when I make, I don't know, director, or I don't know, whatever. Or it's not this person that I'm going to share this bad news, right? With. I'm going to make active choices, but it takes a lot of self-introspection. What are your triggers? Who are the people that just set something off in you? Who are the people who are consistently negative? Because that's another thing. There's just some people, doesn't matter what you do, what you say. Honestly, I can tell you that I've replaced Boris Johnson as Prime Minister. I'm the Prime Minister of England, and someone somewhere will tell you that, really, you? Oh, but I thought that you failed A-level maths, or like some, there's some people who just have a negative spirit, and that discernment and that confidence to call it. I think that's the thing. It's the confidence to actually recognize and say, like, that person doesn't make me feel good. That person doesn't bless me. That person is not on my team, and I need to stick with the people who are on my team. And if you really have in your life hype people, the difference will be so different. Like, you will call someone and say something small, like, oh, I called my friend yesterday and I was like, I got to the bottom of my laundry basket. Like, I finally, all the clothes washed. Such a minor thing. She hyped me. She was like, you're a goddess, domestic goddess, you're on it, da 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 da. And it's such a small thing, but you can call someone else and say, like, well, why did you have laundry in the basket in the first place? So I think that's a skill that you have to develop. You really have to become quite sharp, and you have to be very decisive in your life. And this is why, do you know there's a WhatsApp mute button? Like, you don't block anyone, just mute. And you don't have to see those messages. You don't have to talk to those people regularly. You're not being rude, because blocking is a bit rude. But you're just giving yourself some space. And so I think if you can navigate that, honestly, your life will be much more peaceful. Honestly.
Thank you, Matty. Thank you so much. That was just awesome. What you were sharing, I know I resonated with so much of that stuff in the last 12 months has been extraordinary for me in accessing my wealthy place. Like you say, you realize, you're not for everybody, you rub certain people up the wrong way. And actually, there's people who are just longing to connect with you, connect with those people who, when you come, they're just, yeah, and you find that your sense of happiness. And my daughter said something the other day, and she's only 11, and it was about going somewhere. And she said to me, well, Mom, to be honest with you, I don't really want to go there because they don't make me feel like I'm welcome when I go there. And I thought, whoa, she has worked it out at 11 years old to say, well, actually, why should I be going somewhere where I feel like, oh, there she is, she's come again. No, you don't need to. Your energy, your positivity, your space, your mental health space. You've already trying to deal with your internal enemies, as we said, from past traumas. So you don't need to plug yourself in where there are more daggers hitting you. So a safe space where people are aware that, okay, you're fragile here. So it's not about not taking any feedback back, but the way that the feedback is given is in such a way that it's like, oh, okay, thanks. That's come from a place of love. I didn't realize that. Okay, I can do that, So building up. And as we are accessing our wealthy spaces, we are building up our resources, building up our confidence to go and get the contract to start that business. People would be like, you're doing another thing again. And you're like, oh, okay, maybe, you're just hanging around the wrong people. There's certain people who, when you get around them, they'll be like, wonderful, this is how we can do it. Why don't we structure it like this? And you find your ideas, your creativity, the gifts that you carry begin to flourish. I don't know how we can thank you for that presentation. It was absolutely incredible. Guys, I'm going to give you 5 minutes to just go gab. I know we're running a little late. It was supposed to be a 15-minute break, but 5 minutes. Go get a cup of tea, stretch your legs, tag a friend to join in if you've got, the link for tonight. And we'll come back in again with Hajri as our next speaker.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys for having me. Very underqualified compared to the previous speakers, so I really appreciate you giving giving me your time. And I just wanted to say, by end I'm going to drop, but I just wanted to say this is an intentional decision. Taking control of your mental health is a choice. No one is going to do it for you. And if you really want that happy place, that place of peace, contentment, not competing with randoms, not being stressed by randoms, there are things that you can do to achieve this. It's literally achievable, but you have to do something. So I think be intentional about your happiness. Be intentional about your happiness, and the money will follow. The bag will follow. So yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Matty.